All right, here we go, guys. Welcome in. It is another edition of the NBA Tip-Off Show, powered by WagerTalk.com. I'm Joe Raineri, joined by the ski man himself, at Ski Profit, at Dr. Chuck RX, at Bryan Leonard Sports, at B Leonard Sports. You guys, you can see it. Those are the addresses. Follow them on Twitter. Make sure you're telling them. Always great information coming from all of these guys here, making sure that you will certainly make it a profitable NBA season. Now, we are just, of course, 24 hours removed, or 48 hours, depending on what time you got up. But Thanksgiving just around the corner, and that means we got a short slate tonight, 2 games on the card, and then we'll have a couple more tomorrow. Then we'll take Thursday off, and we'll get back ready for a huge weekend. So we'll go around the horn here. It was a packed night last night. And, Ski, I'll ask you, I'm not sure, did you have any Joel Embiid props last night? On
Oh, man.
Over,
God, no.
Any over prop, nothing along that. What'd you have last night with Embiid? Anything?
God, no. I would have been crying like Embiid in the playoffs if I had that. But I had a loser last night, though, at the same time. Embiid screwed me in my play. I had the first half over 103.5. 61 points in the first quarter. Can't score a bucket in the second. So, one loser. Last week, we ended 9-5 on the NBA week, so let's keep it going again this week.
All right, so it's been good. And Dr. Chuck, how about you last night? What are we doing so far in the NBA? How's it going?
It's still going pretty well overall. I was on the same game with my Sixers, and I just had them first half. Even thought the Raptors would win full game, but the first half seemed too easy. And kind of like he said, they hit 71 points in the first quarter. Embiid and nobody on the Sixers could score in the second quarter. So, they flubbed that first half, -1, -1.5, and lost the whole game, and Embiid didn't score, and just garbage.
Brian, let me ask you, my friend. We talked yesterday on the show, and I asked you about your Cleveland Cavaliers, because I know you got the wallpaper, you got like a Cavs room there, you got the whole thing going on at the house. So the Cavs, great call, by the way. You did point us to the under. Didn't think that would be enough, but man, I got to tell you, Spencer Dinwiddie, good thing Kyrie's not there. He's actually getting the shine here. I don't know if he can keep it up once Kyrie comes back, but Brooklyn gets the job done. The under hits again. Were you surprised with how close that game was last night?
No, I wasn't, but I did think Brooklyn would be able to pull that one out. Cleveland, without their full allotment of players, really has a hard time scoring, and defensively their guards are really bad. But yeah, I'm like these other guys. I even though we've all found ways to lose on the Sixers yesterday, I had them for the full game. So we each lost from different ways from that damn team. I'm telling you. I thought Philadelphia in the fourth quarter would be able to pull away. That's what they've done most of the time this season. They had, I believe, a 7-point lead pretty late in that game, and I felt pretty confident, and it went totally against the way I figured the last part of that game would go. So I was wrong, and just got to get it back today.
All right, on a count of 3, raise your hands. Who had Carmelo 25 points last night? Raise your hand. Anybody? Bueller? Any? Nobody? Ski,
I love it.
Come on, what'd you have, man? Did you have Carmelo scoring 25 as they just trounced Chicago? What the hell was that, Ski?
Hey, I definitely didn't, but I love it. I mean, I've always been a Melo fan, so I definitely want to see him do good. Looks like he has more in the tank. So he's finally on a team where they're not asking him to sit in the corner. He can actually score, so I loved it. And as far as you said about the Nets,
right?
Kyrie, we're starting to see like a thing everywhere he goes. They're better without him on the court.
Yeah, they had that happen, too. What is that? Oh, yeah, the Celtics. Yeah, they figured that out, too. Yeah, rather easily. Danny Ainge figured that out. What a mess. But what about it, Brian? Trailblazers last night, man. I mean, I don't know. I mean, like, I guess he's back, maybe, sort of? Maybe?
I never saw that coming. Yeah. I know he scored 25. How many did he give up?
His plus-minus was still -40, so I think he was. I think you're right. I think he was good to go there. But the Bulls, my word, what the hell is going on with the Bulls, guys? I mean, seriously, Dr. Chuck, talk to me here, man. You making any money on the Bulls? I mean, Zach LaVine, he goes for 40, goes for 8. Like, what's going on with that team?
I don't know. Can he get in more fights with Boylan? I don't know. That seems to work. But no, I mean, it's pretty hard to. I have cashed a few plays on the Bulls first half because that seems to be, especially when they're playing a team their caliber, that seems to be the amount of basketball they can play as a cohesive unit. But I don't know. They're better with this coach, but I mean, it's mostly a stay away for me. I have if it's a close spread and it's a team like the Knicks and the Hornets and teams like that, I like them on the first half. But other than that, I can't stomach this team late because I lost a few times on full game best with them.
Drives you nuts, doesn't it? Drives you absolutely crazy. There's a few teams like that, guys. But how about the Bucks last night taking care of business? Giannis throws down 50 against a Jazz defense that, let's face it, guys, is pretty damn good there. Ski, were you shocked with or should we be shocked anymore at Giannis? I'm wondering how many of those were missed first free throws, though.
Yeah, that's one I didn't catch. But what I was surprised with is no Gobert, and they still hung around. So, I mean, Jazz are pretty tough.
Yep.
A lot of people were on the Bucks last night. A lot of people got killed with that. So that's the one thing I took from that game.
Yep.
And just really quick, I know I don't want to bounce back too much, but Bulls hate Boylan. Like, did you see the game winner from Levine? And then, like, they're like telling him, like, get out of here. What you doing celebrating with us?
Get away from me, man. What is wrong with you? It's a frustrating year for them, man. It's and I know, Bryan, we talked about it yesterday without Rudy Gobert on that lineup there. It was a big number for the Bucks, man. I mean, we weren't sure whether or not they were going to be able to done 122, 118, man. A whole lot of points in that game.
Yeah, it was. And if you take a look at the game, the Jazz led for most of that game. Their average lead was 6.5 points, basically 6.6 points for the entire game, but they just fell apart late. And that's what the good teams do. The good teams, regardless of what happened for the majority of the game, they're able to put it all together in that last part of the fourth quarter, unless you're the Philadelphia 76ers yesterday. But for the most part, if you were to play these teams that are the elite teams in the second half, or at least the fourth quarter of these games, you're going to have success because they find ways to do it, find ways to win. And we see this a lot out of younger teams. Younger teams will play really well, and then they can't get over the hill. They can't find ways to win. We see it in all sports, and it happens in football, it happens in basketball, but it's just something to keep an eye on. And I don't do as much first quarter, first half work as these gentlemen do, but it sounds like that might be a way I'm going to have to start looking at it, because the NBA's a real tough grind, especially now when you don't know who's going to play every night.
Yeah, and that's the truth, man. It makes it very difficult to put plays out when you don't realize who's going to be there, who's not going to be there. One final game from last night, guys, I'll cover. Dr. Chuck, I'll ask you. Here we are. We thought San Antonio might have found a little something there. They got themselves a win the night before, but then, listen, they were winning at halftime. They were taking it to the Lakers, and then the Lakers happened, and then they weren't winning anymore, and then that was the end of that. And the Lakers, they get the notch. And to Bryan's point, the good teams, they hang around just long enough, right, in order to be able to get the job done. It looks like what the Lakers are all about so far this year.
Yeah, it's not a tough team to back because, it's the, I don't know, Hakeem and I were discussing, I like the Lakers better than the Clippers. It's easier to figure out who's going to play. You don't have to worry about load management as much. I mean, I guess I don't know where it'll be with AD come, once they've clinched a playoff spot and want to make sure he can last. But yeah, I mean, to the Spurs point, hard to figure out what's going on there. We discussed it last week with Hakeem, and it's, we both liked the Wizards to beat them outright, and they did. And it kept that losing streak going. And I don't really know how anyone is going to be able to back that team as much as Vegas is going to put up a desirable line, because they can't put a 48-minute game together, even with Popovich and DeRozan and Aldridge. I mean, they have better roster than a lot of teams going and can't put anything together.
Yeah.
Even when they have a sustained lead. So, yeah, I mean, probably not that hard to predict, but two completely divergent teams in that game.
Amazing, man. I mean, Ski, are you shocked with what you're seeing from the Spurs, 6-12 on a year already?
Yeah, before the year, if you told me this would happen, I would say you might be a little crazy. Greg Popovich, what? But just as far as the game last night, I mean, LeBron pretty much owns DeMar's life, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does.
DeMar looked like he was just ready to go. So,
yep.
I mean, they have nothing for him.
No, he really does. It's like it's a tough. But listen, Aldridge dropped 30 in the game, I think, but they can't haven't been able to put it together here, and Pop looks a little more frustrated. I mean, he usually looks like a grumpy ass anyway, but I mean, he looks a little bit more frustrated than normal there. I don't know what the answer is outside of playing, Bryan, 1999 offense in NBA basketball there. You do got to shoot three at some point in this era here, and it looks like the Spurs are just stuck in doing things their way from back in the day. But the Lakers are a team, like Dr. Chuck said, Bryan, they're not hard to back, are they?
No, they're not. And it's a team that it's the better team on the court. And normally when you have the better team on the court, the more chances you get going up and down, the longer the game goes, the better chance you have for winning. And that's the way it worked out yesterday. As you pointed out, they were losing at the half. And then they said, okay, well, that's enough of that. Let's get out there and play our game. And, I would have been on San Antonio last night. So it wasn't a good overall night for me personally yesterday. So good day to pass for me today.
All right. Well, he's passing here today, but the other guys, there's only 2 games on the card. We've got them for you. And also, don't forget, guys, WagerTalk.com. That is where you can go. You can find Ski. You can find Bryan Leonard there. Go to their handicappers page and, of course, get yourself a 3-day, 7-day, 30-day. Get yourself full access pass. Never have to worry about when the plays are coming. You will get notified. And, of course, Dr. Chuck available at sportsmemo.com. Same situation there. Hop on the handicappers page. Get to Dr. Chuck RX. NBA plays are available. And, guys, let's dive in here to this monster slate here tonight. Not sure how we're going to keep these games straight, so let me see if I can start. Who in the hell is playing? Let's start in L.A. Why not, right? We were just talking about the Lakers. Let's talk about that other team, the Clippers, taking on, oh, boy. Man, have we talked about the Dallas Mavericks ever as much as we have this time of the season in the past? If it's Luka Doncic this, it's Luka Doncic that. It's and again, I had mentioned it. He's playing so well that we're actually not talking about how bad Kristaps Porzingis has been to this particular point. But that's all right because they're winning, and this is an interesting battle in the West here now. The Clippers heading to Dallas, taking on the Mavs at the AAA there at the American Airlines Arena. You've got laying 2 Clippers last I've seen, guys. It's kind of bouncing back and forth there between 1.5 and 2 in some spots. 227.5 looks to be the number. Ski, I'll start with you, man. Talk to me about your initial thoughts on this game here between the Clippers and the Mavericks tonight.
Well, 2 teams that are playing well, both coming in winning their last 5 games. Those are the 5 games since the Clippers have had Paul George and Kawhi together. Another thing that comes to my mind, Clippers not good on the road, 1-4 straight up and against the spread on the road. Granted, they weren't really at full health. Like, somebody sat out in each of those road games, I believe. Dallas, a team that's playing really good right now, a team that's playing good at home. They've won 5 out of their last 6 home games, 4-0 against the spread, their last 4 at home. And people do a lot of talking about Doncic, but, I mean, there's other people on this team, too. We're talking about it. Luka had 40 points last game versus the Rockets. Hardaway Jr. had 31. Porzingis had 23. So it's not just Luka versus the Clippers. And Dallas, they're number 1 on the point margin in the first half, plus 7.8. Clippers, they're known to start a little slow sometimes and then come with it in the second half. I like Dallas early, even to win the game.
Okay, so you like Dallas, the home team there. And Bri, what do you think, man? Are you buying that they got enough firepower with the Mavericks, enough depth in order to be able to compete with a team, provided everyone's playing here tonight, of course, on the Clippers? But do you think they've got enough to be able to compete?
Yeah, Doncic has fared very, very well against smaller guards. He just shoots right over top of them. The Clippers have talked about that. They've got 3 guys that they think match up very well with them. Pretty good defenders, actually. So they're going to be throwing these 3 guys at them, the bigger guys tonight. So it'll be a little bit different from a Dallas standpoint. I think that may hold the scoring down a little bit here. Dallas is one of the top scoring teams, but the Clippers with their full roster back is a much better, as Ski pointed out, a much better team, especially on the defensive end. I'm excited to watch the game. As I pointed out yesterday, just this Dallas team really excites me, but I think the line's about where it should be, so I'm not going to have a play, but it wouldn't surprise me if it's a little bit lower scoring than what we have currently at 227.
Dr. Chuck, you look at this game, man. How do you approach it, man? What are you looking at this game?
So Hakeem and I were discussing off air that, the differences in full roster, and I don't dislike the Mavericks full roster. I agree that there are pieces. It's just not the same as the Clippers, and I think both teams are running hot right now, and I just think that it's going to be one of those situations where early the Mavericks feel this as an urgency situation, even though it's pretty early in the season. The Clippers kind of knew from jump when they signed these guys what this season was going to bring. They're probably in a hunt for one or two, and that's where they know they're at, and that helps bring load management into this situation. And I just think, I think Doncic is going to, similar to what Bry said, the mismatch that he's going to have. The Clippers are going to try to guard him, but I think he's going to go off early at least, and it's just going to be one of those things at home they feel how important this game is. And early on, they're already about the best team in the first half period. They're 12-4 ATS first half. You don't even have to lay a point. It's pick 'em at like -105. And so my favorite play is that I don't have to worry about how it is over 48 minutes and whether or not they have to go to Porzingis late or Hardaway late and they shut Doncic down and he has to pass it and Kawhi takes over or PG takes over. I don't even know if it's going to be all that close. I do agree with Leonard that I feel like the scoring will come down a little bit. But over the full game, I don't trust the Mavericks as much as I do in the first half, and I just think that price is too good. And those points, the Clippers don't care. They're not good in the first half of the ATS, and the Mavericks are about the best team. So I just think all things considered, it's going to be I think it might be a 5, 8, 10-point lead for the Mavericks at the half, and then from there, I think it's a real barn burner.
Interesting, guys. Clippers coming to game 12-5. Mavericks 11-5. It's going to be real interesting to see this battle. It's going to be a fun game. 8:30 here tonight. And then, of course, right after that, guys, second game. We can't stop talking about the Wizards. We always seem to be talking about the Wizards. The damn Wizards won't go away. And Ski, I'll start with you, man. Denver, pretty tough team at home. Denver is Washington is just, what are they, 5-9 here? Listen, 5-9, if you'd have told me 2 months ago that we'd be talking about a Wizards team that start the season 5-9, I think we'd all be cracking the champagne. Like, you got it, no way. But it is the Wizards. They seem to be really good against 500 or less. Losing teams, they seem to be able to shoot and kind of impose their will. The better teams, they haven't done really well. In fact, I believe they're 6-1 against, guy to the under with opponents that aren't 500. So how do you approach this? This is a different animal. Denver on the road. Are we going to see as much scoring as we normally do at Washington?
Well, Denver is at home in this one. And the way I'm looking at it, if you like Denver, I think you do like the under. Denver, I believe, 8-0 when they hold opponents under 100. Mm-hmm. If you like Washington, I think you more so like the over because Washington's not really going to play much defense. They're just going to try to keep up on offense. They do a great job sharing the ball, making the extra pass, and getting good looks, but don't play much defense. It's a large spread for me. I think this is the last game Denver plays. They've been doing well on their last trip. They're 5-0 straight up. Their last 5, 6-1 straight up. Their last 7 at home. I don't know how much they're going to care to win by margin here. Clippers 6-1 as a road dog. 3-0 when the spread is +8 to +11. And I have this as 4-0 versus 55% win teams are greater against the spread. I'll double check that one, but I like the Wizards plus all the points. And as far as the total, I know I said if you like Wizards, you like the over.
Right.
I just have to lean to the over.
You're going to go over in this one. All right, so Ski's going to go over here. Bri, what do you think, man? Let's face it, the Nuggets, they have covered. It's a big number, 4-1 against the number in their last 5 overall, and 4-1-1 against the number in their last 6 against opponents with losing records. What do you think, man? You think Denver gets it done at home tonight against Washington, covers the number, keeps it under, keeps it over?
Washington, I believe, has played like 4 less games than most teams in the league right now. So they should be very well rested here. They play a lot of the weaker teams, and now they're going up. This road trip, for example, they play at Denver tonight, and we all know about the altitude and how good Denver is. Tomorrow they're playing Phoenix, a team that's really looking much better than what they they were expected to do, and then they finished off, played 2 games in LA against what Doctor said could be the 2 best teams in the league there, these 2 teams in LA. So a real proving ground for the Washington Wizards here. They're, as Ski pointed out, they're a major offensive team, but they're going against probably one of the best, if not the best defensive team they played so far this year. The line, I agree, the line's a little bit too high for my liking, but it seems to be pretty much if Denver wins, you would look for the under. Washington possibly look for the over. But I don't think Washington's going to score as many points here as what we've seen. I mean, they're a team that puts up a lot of points regardless of who they play, but this is a different animal here, having to play in altitude here against this Denver defense. So we'll see. I'm staying off of this one, but it'll be interesting to see what Washington comes out of this 4-game trip. It's
interesting, Dr. Chuck. Jokic coming off a 8-point game against Phoenix here, due for a bounce back. What do you think, man? You think Denver's got obviously they got some depth. They're a different team at home here, one of the best teams in the NBA thus far this year. Does Washington stand a chance at a 9.5 number?
Yeah, actually, I would definitely lean that way, especially at 9.5. I would be dog or pass, honestly. I don't think the Nuggets care to make sure they win by 10. I think they come into this game pretty knowledgeable about how bad the defense is and the confidence in their own offense. So what's interesting about the Nuggets is that they win. Their offensive numbers, as far as the analytics go, not all that impressive. And it makes it even more intriguing playing the Wizards because they're bottom 5 in the NBA or close to bottom 5 in the NBA for effective field goal and true shooting percentage. The Wizards are the worst in the league at allowing it. It's like 58% effective field goal and 117 true shooting percentage, and the Nuggets are just going to feast on that. It's funny you mentioned Jokic because I think there's a chance. I mean, if I was Mike Malone, and I don't know how he'll go with this, but this feels like one of those nights that if they want to get into the Wizards game, Jokic might get a good bit of rest and maybe even play, 25 less minutes. I don't know if that's a certainty or anything like that. And, I agree with Steve totally that you lean towards the over. I'm on the first half over. You can get earlier you can get a 116. It's probably 117 already. Last 10 games, they're 8-2 to the over, averaging over 127 points, the total in the first halves. And they just run and chuck and allow the other team to do the same. And it really isn't all that close. There's also an interesting, Ralphie type stat off of a loss. The Wizards off of a loss with more than 6 double-digit scores in that previous game, or 8-0 to the over. And just teams in general, the last 10, 9 to the over if you were off a loss and had 6 double-digit scores. And so it's just, and that doesn't even take into account the unbelievably terrible defensive metrics of the Wizards, period. I mean, the Nuggets see the possibility to put up 70 in the first half, and it seems unlikely that they can't get there with ease. Which, so like one, I don't know if we're getting into props or not, but there'll be a couple of good assist over props for the Nuggets I like tonight too.
All right, good. Well, there we go. We got 2 games on the card here, guys. The Clippers, Mavs, Wizards, Nuggets. You guys had a pretty good idea of who the fellas like there. I want to remind you guys, of course, the plays always at WagerTalk.com. SportsMemo.com is where you can find Dr. Chuck as well as Ski here and Bryan Leonard. And we'll go around the horn here, guys, talk about some of your best bets here, some of the prop bets if you have them. And Ski, we'll go with you. Obviously, not a lot to choose from here, but like we say, you're coming across an envelope that Bryan Leonard won't pick up, so now you got 2 envelopes. Let's see, you got the envelope, you got the grand, man. I mean, it's you're gonna take a flyer. What are you gonna throw it on, man? What are you taking to the window?
I'm gonna take that money and I'm gonna go ahead and put it on the team with the number 1 first half point margin. Dallas Mavericks first half. They'll win. They'll be winning.
Love that. And how about you? Got any props over there tonight, Ski? Anything you're looking at?
If I'm looking at a prop, I kind of agree with what Dr. Chuck just said. You look for assists on Denver side, and I think Denver, they would want to play through Jokic, especially with Thomas Bryant down there. He's sharing the rock. His assist total is 6.5 So I would look towards over that. Or, I mean, you can't go wrong with Luka props over, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not going to go wrong after an 8-point performance there. How about it, Bryan? Let's face it, I force you to take that money, even though you don't want to. You're going to the window. What are you doing, man? What are you playing?
I need to find a new route where people don't drop money. I don't like either one of these games. I'll divide my $1,000 up between these next two guys and let them invest a little bit more for me because I don't like this card at all tonight.
You don't like anything in there. All right, so he's divvying it up there. And Dr. Chuck, come on, where are you putting Leonard's money here? And give us your props. Give us your best bet.
Oh man, I can put my money and Bry's money. It's so funny that he has to take a different route because Joe won't let him put it in his pocket.
Nope.
So I would absolutely go the same way. I mean, I know you're going against the Clippers, but the Mavs are winning this game at the half. It's at home. Clippers don't care. I mean, you know, if you got 116 or 116.5 in the Wizards Nuggets game, I'd take that over too. Maybe split it 750 each, but if I was going to put all of my money and Bry's money and all of Hakeem and Bry's money, I'd probably put it on the Mavericks first half.
All right, good. And you're going to be looking at the assist props there in the Mavs game, is in the Denver game.
So yeah, it was interesting. He said play through Jokic. I would probably go Murray. I think it was. I don't think that. I think the juice is nasty now because it's the Wizards.
Right.
But I think it was 5.5. I think you might have to lay minus 130 or 135, unfortunately. So maybe look elsewhere, like a Doncic prop. Maybe even a Hardaway. I didn't look into Hardaway, but it is interesting that Ski was saying is he's going to be, I think, the additional side on the Mavs that tries to go off tonight in a game that I just think they care so much more about, whether or not that shows on the final scoreboard.
All right, well, there you got it, guys. 2 games on the card. Plenty of opportunities for you still to profit here tonight. It starts by heading over to WagerTalk.com. You'll get Ski, you'll get Bryan Leonard right there. Make sure you guys check out their pages right under the handicapper section. And, of course, Dr. Chuck RX. You can get him at sportsmemo.com. And you can get us back again tomorrow here on WagerTalk TV on the YouTube page. Make sure you go ahead, guys. Just hit that little bell in the upper right-hand corner. Subscribe to the page. Never miss an episode. And more importantly, make sure you're tailing these guys on Twitter at those addresses that you see there, at Ski Profit, at B Leonard Sports, at Dr. Chuck RX. Make sure you're tailing them. Always great free information available for you by doing so. So, Ski, Bry, Dr. Chuck, always a pleasure. Guys, thank you very much for spending Bryan Leonard's $1,000 since he never spends it himself. We always appreciate that. We'll be back again tomorrow. But, fellas, good luck with the plays tonight. Thanks for taking the time. We'll talk again tomorrow.
Thank you.
You got
Later,
it.
guys.
Good luck, guys.